Roll call for members. Angie DeSanto,
Here.
John Kopak,
Here.
Paul Varga,
Here.
Eric Bean,
Here.
Jesse Burnham,
Here.
Christina Davis. Here. Hugh McKenzie,
Here.
Esther Jagosinski. Okay, we have a full house. Okay. Communications, I don't have anything. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
I did not receive anything from anybody.
So then the public comments. Okay, approved minutes of the meeting for Thursday, December 8th. Do we have a motion to approve minutes of the regular meeting for Thursday, December 8th, 2022?
I was just looking, did I actually send those out?
Yeah, I mean, I
They're
have them.
online too.
You didn't send an email, but I found it on the
Okay,
town website.
okay.
Yeah, they're online
I
too.
apologize for that. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
I can't hear you, Angie, you're muted.
Yeah,
I'll
if we
second
weren't
it.
there, can we do the
I was
motion
there,
or
I'll
not?
second it.
You have a second, Angie?
No, I wasn't there. Can I do a second?
Hang on, let me see.
I don't know.
I was there, I'll second it.
Okay,
He was there, Garth
Yeah,
was there.
Hugh's
Paul-
not seated.
Hugh's not seated, so it would be you
Me,
and me. I'll second it.
okay.
Garth was there and Hugh. Okay, do we have any corrections, discussion?
I don't have any edits.
Excuse me,
Go ahead, Laurie.
excuse
Val.
me. Could you tell me who made and seconded the motion?
So, Paul, motion, and I, Judith Austin, second.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Now we're going for, anybody interested in corrections, see anything you need to fix? Don't hear anything? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We got eyes over there. Angie?
I wasn't there.
Angie wasn't there.
Yeah, but she see it. Oh,
Yeah, there's a confusion about that.
sorry.
We'll just,
Aye. You read it. You said aye?
Yeah, I did.
stay.
So the vote's unanimous.
This is John. I abstain. I don't think I was there either.
And I abstain as well.
Who's that?
Jesse.
Jesse. Jesse, John, and Angie, Valerie,
Okay,
staying.
so it's actually three of us,
Yeah.
three of us passed it. Okay. New business, Bill,
Yes,
it's your turn for the selectmen's update.
okay, good evening, folks. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I know we've got, you've got your audit report, so I won't take up much time, but I will gladly answer any questions. I guess several things of major importance I wanted to call to everyone's attention and hopefully encourage your participation in. The town meeting, a public hearing, which will be adjourned to a town meeting for the purpose of discussing and then acting on the school roof project for the $5 million bonding. We will be held on Saturday. I emphasize Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at the school cafeteria. The only thing that we have not decided on, and that will be finalized at our selectmen's meeting next Tuesday morning. We meet on every other Tuesday, which is something new for the Board of Selectmen. We'll be meeting every week now. But to decide, the two considerations that we're having is it's going to be virtual anyway on Zoom. But what we're considering is whether to do voting through Zoom and in person or just in person. And we're getting opinions on that. As you know, we've had a couple of town meetings where we have had Zoom with virtual voting, and it has been an administrative nightmare for those handling that part of it. We've checked with a number of towns, Willington, Wyndham, 4 or 5 other towns, and they've gone to just voting in person. If somebody wants to vote, we encourage them to come down to the venue and vote. But we're hoping for a big turnout, and encourage all of you hopefully to attend. And again, that will be on the 11th of February, Saturday at 10 a.m. Another important item that's coming up on the 13th of February is a public hearing before the Planning and Zoning for the project that we've been hearing about being proposed for lack of a better term, the Ashford Motel property up there at exit 72. They're going to be looking for some changes in the regs for that particular area. I encourage everybody to participate. My understanding is that the project itself could become our largest taxpayer in town and bring multiple jobs to town. And I encourage everybody to participate. Couple of other items at our meeting.
Wait, excuse me, Bill.
Yes.
What time is the meeting on the 13th?
Well, the Planning and Zoning meets at 7. I'm not sure where it is on their agenda, but they'll meet at 7. And that will be virtual through Zoom.
Thank you.
At our last meeting on Tuesday, we appointed Sherry Susie as our permanent treasurer. Her term to expire because it had to run coterminous with Cheryl Baker's initial term. So that will run through June of this year. And that was done on a permanent basis. We've also received notice from local 1303 -293 of Council 4. This is the union representing town employees that we will be opening negotiations for a new contract for them. I know the union is meeting on during the first or second week in February. So I would assume we'll probably be scheduling a meeting with them either the end of February or early March.
Bill, this is Christina. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Can you hear me?
Through the chair.
I thought that the town employee union negotiated a contract last year. Is that annual, or how long does that contract?
Well, the contract that you're correct, it was negotiated last year, and we decided to negotiate a single-year contract.
Oh, okay.
Typically, it's either 2 or 3 years. The last 2 years, because of the economic situation that we all find ourselves in and everything, the Board of Selectmen has elected to go with the 1 year. All right, just a point of news coming up. Most of you are probably aware of it. The school generator blew up pretty much on Christmas Eve. And Mike Melody and the crew up there worked diligently to get a rental in. And that is operational right now. It's being leased on a month-to-month basis. The incident was reported to our insurance company, Kerma, who have already come out and done an inspection of it. We're waiting for them. I doubt very much they'll pay for all of the repairs, but we're hoping that there'll be a proportionate part of either the repairs or a recommendation on a new generator up there. And again, I compliment the crew. They did a fine data on that. As you know, we've had an update in the COVID cases. I try to send around to everybody our CDC and local district health department reports on a weekly basis. There is an uptick. Ashford, included in the district, is in the high to orange category as they rate them. And the test kits that we've had on hand here at Town Hall have expired, but we found that the school had an abundance of extras and they were kind enough to let us have them. So the ones we have expire January 31st, but we're expecting those will be that termination or expiration will be extended. But I
Well-
encourage any of you, if you need them, we have them, a plentiful stock of them here right now. And I encourage you to take advantage of that.
Bill, this is Paul. I will touch base with you. I will touch base with you tomorrow about that.
Okay,
I have information about it. I just got it today. Haven't even read it yet. So.
okay. Yeah, I got a couple of things in and I haven't opened it either yet, but we can go over that. Judy, there's several other sort of things. I know Angie in particular likes to hear about things going, but for the sake of time and to let you get to your audit report, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Okay, who we got? Hi, Sean. You're
Hey, how's
up.
everybody doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Did everybody get the PowerPoint by any chance?
I just sent it out like a half an hour ago, so.
Just if you want to come over here so you can see it.
Sure.
I'm gonna, if I got enough, hold on here.
Also, is there a way to make him like fill the screen? Or if he's gonna share his screen?
John, can you make it so Sean can share a screen?
Yeah, I was gonna share the audit PDF. It's easier if I can scroll through that if you guys have the PowerPoint to
Okay.
follow along with.
I did not receive it. This is Bill Folletti. But I do have a copy. I was able to beg a copy of the draft.
I'll push it out to him, Judy.
Yeah, because, okay, I finally opened it here.
There we go.
So we have electronic copy of this?
The PowerPoint is different than, yes, we
Yeah.
have a copy
Yes.
of all of it, but the PowerPoint is something.
PowerPoint is something different.
Yeah, Garth and I have the PowerPoint, so we're good. But we're gonna get printed copies of this audit report.
Yeah,
Um,
they should already be there, I think.
They didn't show up yet.
They didn't show up, that's why I was requesting them.
The bound copies haven't come?
No,
No,
All right, I'll double check on that because we did finish it a long time ago, so it wouldn't have come like recently.
no sign of them yet. That's why I requested them. It was yesterday and the day before again.
Okay, I'll double check on that.
gotta be a way to make this full screen.
He should be able to zoom in on it so that we can see it better.
Oh, so it's a PDF, not.
Yeah,
Are you sharing it or is he sharing it, Paul?
no.
No, I have it.
Oh, my God.
There we go, full screen. All right, there we go. Well, we have we have a PDF of the PowerPoint you sent out, so that's what you want us to follow along with, Sean, is that right?
Yeah, and then because I can't share like two documents at once, so if you had the PowerPoint, I could share the audit and go through it.
So Sean, if you're gonna really go line by line, I would just encourage you to zoom in on it. 'Cause, like,
Okay, yeah,
hard
yeah,
to
I'll,
read.
I'll zoom in if it's an area I want to focus on. If I go with the side by side here, I can scroll through the
Okay.
pages quicker.
You can zoom.
Okay, so the PowerPoint, it has page numbers, so you can kind of refer back to the PDF later if anybody was interested in following up on it. I'll kind of go pretty quickly through the audit report. If you guys see anything, if you have a question on something, just jump in and stop me. First page in the PowerPoint, so it's kind of like an index of the financial audit that we do. You also have your Connecticut State Single Audit, which is the grant compliance audit for Connecticut. This year you had a federal single audit. So if you spend over 750,000 of federal money, you also have to have a federal compliance audit. And then there's also the Board of Ed EFS agreed upon procedures that we do. So starting on page 1 to 3 here, you have the independent auditors report. New standards came out this year, so the report looks a little bit different than it did last year. They put what they think is the most important part, the opinion, that's now in the first paragraph, followed by responsibilities of management, and then the auditor's responsibilities. And then it talks about the required supplementary information. That would be like your management discussion and analysis, some required pension and OPEB tables that are towards the back of the audit. Starting on page 4 to 10, you have the management's discussion and analysis. This is a pretty high level overview of the changes in the financial position of the town. It gives management a chance to put in any reasonings for changes. They can pretty much edit it how they would like. There's just some required pieces that are required to be in here. Starting on page 11, these are the basic financial statements. Pages 11 and 12. So these are the government-wide statements. These are on the full accrual basis of accounting. So these are going to include like fixed assets, will include all your debt. Any long-term liabilities will be in there. Similar to if it was like a business entity. Starting on page 13, these are your fund financial statements. These are on the modified accrual basis of accounting. So these are more short-term focused. They don't include any capital assets or long-term debt. First bullet in the PowerPoint. So you have your general fund balance. Down here. At June 30, 22, the general fund's fund balance was 2.4 million. It's useful to look at the unassigned fund balance. At year end, you had 2,071,758 in unassigned. That is 13.6% of your budgeted expenditures and transfers out. So you have a policy to keep it at a minimum between 10 and 15%. So you're within your policy. The components of these other fund balances, there's a chart on page 32. So you can see what makes up these other numbers. And you also have combining statements for the general fund that shows what makes up this committed 341,000. This is a reconciliation page. It reconciles that page I just showed you to the government-wide pages. So this is where you'll see capital assets get included, your long-term debt. Get the cat's playing. Going to page 15. This is the scheduled changes in fund balance on the modified accrual basis. We zoom in a little bit. The general fund had an increase in fund balance of 210,000 for the year. You also spent 135,000 of your ARPA money. That was part of the reason that you had a federal single audit this year. You also have new equipment financing that you issued of 454,000 for the mini excavator and the fire truck. In the PowerPoint. So I put in a little chart just so you can see kind of like where your general fund balance has been over the last 3 years. It's been pretty consistent. It went up a little bit this year. It's just a chart for reference.
So the fund balance went up to 1014, is that right?
Yep.
That's after 2 years. No, that's, sorry, never mind.
Oh,
Next page is a reconciliation of the income statement to government wide. So again, it's including any capital purchases, depreciation expense, the payment of long-term debt or equipment financing, any changes in accrued interest or the OPEB liability. You have your fiduciary funds. So this is where you'll see your pension trust fund, your private purpose trust funds, which would be the scholarships, and then your other custodial funds. Starting on page 19, you have the notes to the financial statements. Note 1 talks about these significant accounting policies. Most of the terminology in here is pretty boilerplate, just it goes over your major funds, the capital non-recurring fund, small cities grant fund, talks about your pension trust, your private purpose trust, custodial funds. Page 29, you have your capital asset chart. You can see an increase in the land from the properties that you guys took over during 22. I can't remember the name of them right now.
Kettle Rock.
The Kettle Rock properties, yep. Page 30. So page 30 talks about your long-term liabilities. So you have your general obligation bonds. You paid down 220,000 of that during 22. I heard Bill talking about some new bonding. So you were almost paid off, but it sounds like you're gonna increase it back up a little bit.
Unfortunately, yes.
So for fiscal 23, you have a payment of about 235,000, and then after that it drops down significantly. So it's only about 40,000. So you do gain some wiggle room there. Page 31. So you have 2 new equipment financings, the excavator and the fire truck. So this shows the principal balances. At year end, it was 390,000, about 110,000 in payments for the next 3 years, and then 78,000. GASB 87 went into effect in fiscal year 22. So that talks about leases, if you had any like cell tower leases receivable or leases payable. So there's a couple paragraphs here to talk about leases payable. They kind of get picked up like debt now. So you can see how much the leases would cost you over the next 5 years. Page 32, this is the fund balance chart that I was mentioning before. So it just shows the components of those fund balances on that front page there.
Before you go on, going back to that, the page that starts with shared debt.
Yep.
Because on the copy that I have, it's in yellow.
You have the, a draft one then?
So can you give me an idea of what's different? Or zoom in on it so I can see?
Yeah, I'll zoom in on it. We were waiting for a confirm from Region 19. Basically, they just tell us what their outstanding debt is.
Yeah, so the numbers. Different.
So I can read it to you.
Yeah, if you could.
The town is contingently liable for the pro rata share of Region 19's outstanding bonds. At June 30, 22, the district's outstanding bonds and bands were 7.4 million. 18.43% is Ashford's share, which would be about 1.3 million. They also have almost 5 million of authorized and unissued bonds, which you would be proportionately liable for if they issue them. So it's kind of just like a information paragraph that we were waiting for.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yep. Going to page 33 starts the talk about the retirement plans. So you have the defined contribution plan, the state teachers retirement plan. We like to point out the teacher's liability. So at June 30, 22, the Ashford's share of the total teacher's liability was 10,879,000. Right now, you're not liable for any of it. If somewhere down the road, the state wanted to kick something to you, this is what your piece is. We also point out the amount that the state pays into the plan on your behalf, which was 911,000. So they could always push that down to you.
Sean, Bill Folletti here, could
Hey.
you elaborate on that a little? You said our total exposure is 10 million, something that the state could pass down to us?
So if they ever decided they wanted to make the towns all start like covering a portion of the teacher's retirement,
Yeah,
your share of it is 10.8 million for your district teachers.
now, is that under existing legislation or would that take special legislation?
They've like talked about it, but there's nothing in the pipeline to do it.
Okay,
It's just been brought up.
it's like the sword of Damocles.
And then it's the same thing with the teachers' OPEB liability, which is 1.1 million. And the state contributed 21,000 on Ashford's behalf. Page 42, we have upcoming pronouncements. So these are new GASB standards that may or may not affect Ashford, depending on your situation. But these are standards that are coming out. Each one lists when it goes into effect. So this one says July 1, 22. So that would be your fiscal 2023 year, which is next year. Don't expect any of these to have too significant of a change for you guys. Note 13, so we adopted GASB 87. It shows the change in adding the right of use asset along with the lease liability. We also reclassed student activity funds out of custodial to special revenue. Page 44 is a summary version of your budget. So this is probably more what you're used to looking at your board meetings. Property taxes came in 260,000 over budget, greater than budget. Let's see if there's any other major. Yeah, no real significant under expenditures. The Board of Ed was under by 85,000. Page 54. So this is a reconciliation from your budgetary basis, which is different than the GAAP basis financial statements further up in the audit. So it shows how you get from the budget numbers. These are the differences, like the on behalf contributions, and it gets you up to your GAAP basis numbers further in the front.
Page numbers.
Page 55. So this starts some of your required supplementary information schedules, teachers' retirement pension, and show it just like a trend schedule. So it shows your portion over time here. So same thing with the OPEB, teachers' retirement OPEB. Page 58. This is your combining general fund. So this is where you have the library and your Board of Ed non-lapsing. Those are the biggest pieces of this. So you contributed 185,000 towards the library. They spent 171,000 of it. The Board of Ed non-lapsing also transferred in 155,000 from the previous year's surplus, and then they spent some of it and transferred some of it out to capital. Page 60, these are your non-major governmental funds. These funds are much smaller. They don't meet the threshold to be qualified as a major fund. The major funds show up on those front pages that I showed you before. Page 65, this is your schedule of property taxes levied, collected, and outstanding. At year end, so you had tax receivable of 559,000. A useful indicator that we look at is the receivable over the current levy. At year end, yours was 4.9%. We normally see it between 2 and 6 or 8%. So you're in the normal range. Schedule of capital non-recurring projects.
Where was that 4.9%? What page?
On page 65. So it's the tax receivable down in the bottom right corner here, divided by the current levy. So your total taxes before any COCs or transfers to suspense.
Okay, so it doesn't actually say 4.9% on
No,
here.
yeah.
So that's like a rule, like a general rule that you want to be, what's the number, 2 and 6?
Yeah, most people are between 2 and 6. So we look at it, and if it was started to get outside the normal range, then we look even harder.
Guess so.
Okay, I guess any questions on the financial report before we go to the federal single audit?
Sean, one quick question, Bill Folletti again.
Yeah.
On the unexpended funds, you said 85,000 roughly with the Board of Ed.
Yep.
Is that the amount that will go before the Board of Finance for consideration, go into this year's non-lapsing fund?
Yeah, so that's likely the amount they'll request you to transfer over.
Okay.
Which page is that again, and what is that? Can you repeat that?
So it's the Board of Ed's amount that they didn't spend of their 22 budget. So that you guys have a Board of Ed non-lapsing. So that if the Board of Ed underspends, then you can transfer it into their non-lapsing for emergency repairs. If you had to repair that generator. it's kind of like a incentive for Board of Eds not to spend their whole budget every year.
Mhm.
But then there was that whole issue of like the percentage and, right, how much you can. We had to lift the percentage last year because it was more than it normally was.
You did it. It was 1%, and then I think we acknowledged 2%, which if I understand it right, the Board of Finance can reconsider at any time, but I believe right now it's at 2%.
52,
52.
52.
Yeah, we only did that because of the situation with the oil tank. That was a unique circumstance.
They've dedicated 135 of what you gave them last year to the oil tank replacement project that will be starting in June.
Okay, so for fiscal year 22, you guys also had a federal single audit. So if we go to page 6, this is your schedule of federal awards that you spent. You can see that 285,000 of it is related to the child nutrition cluster, which is cafeteria. There's also another 362,000 of education grants. And then you have your 135,000 of ARPA and 30,000 of FEMA that you got in, making up 822,000. So you're barely over the threshold, but you're still over.
And is that, how much do we typically get from the federal government?
It's usually less than 750. I can't remember whereabouts it falls in. It might have been 500. Everybody saw kind of an increase in school nutrition this year. With everyone was free, so it was fully grant funded. And then there's also ESSER grants that the Board of Ed got. So there was 126,000 of ESSER, an extra 17,000 in a special ed stipend. Then you have the increase in your cafeteria funding, and then you spent 135,000 of ARPA. You still have quite a bit of ARPA left. So as you spend the ARPA, you'll probably still have a federal single audit. Page 9, so this is a summary of the auditor's results. No material weaknesses or significant deficiencies identified. No non-compliance. Of the federal award programs that we tested, there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies identified and no non-compliance. In addition to the federal, you had the state single audit, which you normally have. On page 6, this is your schedule of expenditures of state financial assistance. So for 2022, you guys spent almost 4.3 million of state funding. The majority of that is related to the education cost sharing and the excess cost, about 3.5 million. There's also 294,000 for Town Aid Road, 125,000 for the Small Town Economic Assistance Program, STEEP, and 113,000 for the school readiness at the Board of Ed. Page 8, summary of the auditor's results. Again, no material weakness, significant deficiencies. On the state financial programs that we tested, no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, no non-compliance. So I guess, are there any questions on the federal single audits? Or federal or state single audit? So in addition to the audits, we also had a management letter for 2022. I'm sure everybody's aware at the board, or at the library. The director left kind of mid-year. So after the director left, there wasn't really anybody fully maintaining the accounting records or doing the bank reconciliations. So we brought that up to them. They agree. They reached out to the accountant that they use, and they got the records updated and the bank reconciliations done. And then in the future, if they find themselves in any similar situation, they'll reach out to their accountant earlier, just to keep the books and records maintained and bank recs done. Management letter from 2021. So when we have comments, we follow up on them in the following year. The comments we had from 21, they were corrected. So last year, library again, the director was receiving the invoices, putting them into QuickBooks, and then preparing and signing the checks. So we recommended that they split up that duty, separation of duties. So now they have the Board of Trustees sign the checks. Last year, there was also comment at the Board of Education on student activities, CAF and scholarships. They just weren't maintaining the funds in a general ledger system. This year, they put them into Infinite Vision and reconciled them in there. So I guess anybody has any questions on any of the pieces?
Sean, it's related to this. I know you had some questions and we worked on it. You're satisfied with our method now that we're using for our fixed asset lists?
Yep. Yeah. So it's still going to be maintained on your computer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We know where it is now, and you guys figured out how to update it, I think, because you did get it updated.
Well, we found out it was being updated every 6 months or every year, if we could remember to, but we're doing it on a much more timely basis.
That'd make it easier.
Yep.
Hey, Sean, this is Paul Varga. Just the hard copies, if you could let myself or Judy Austin know when they were sent and to whom, we can follow up and see if we can track them down so the board members can have those in hand.
Okay. Yeah, I'll follow up with the office tomorrow and see when they were mailed, and if they're not there, I can just have them rebind them and put them in a box and send them to you guys.
The electronic copies we got are the drafts as was indicated earlier, so it's just easier to have them in your face when you want to look at numbers all the time.
Yep. Yeah, I'll get the bound ones up to you guys.
Sean, how many do you issue?
As many as you guys want.
Okay, well, I'll let Judy handle that, but we're probably gonna need a few extra now, being that we're going into bonding, and I know bond counsel is gonna want a couple, and we've also brought on board a financial advisor.
Okay.
Bill, I requested 12.
We may need a few more than that.
Because we need one for Sherry too, for the records.
Right.
Probably need one for the school and then the board members and yourself.
15, 16.
Yeah, I would say 15.
Can I ask a question?
Okay. Sure. Go ahead.
Sean, I know there was, and I know that there was turnover with the treasurer in the town.
Yes.
And there was a gap there where we didn't have, that person. So did that present any challenges to you guys, and how did that go?
It was 4 or 5 months ago now, but I remember
Yeah.
it going pretty smoothly. I would remember if it was a big mess. We have plenty of those now, but yeah, I remember it going pretty smoothly.
Our deputy treasurer did a yeoman's job on that, I'll tell you.
Yeah, she had to take the reins and
Yep.
do some extra work to keep everything going.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you, Sean. That was a very good presentation.
You're welcome. And I'll follow up on the reports and I'll let you know tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. Good job.
Bye. Thanks.
Okay. The next item is the appointment of the Board of Finance representative to the Capital Improvements Committee. Do we have anybody that's interested in that? Any of you guys interested in joining Capital Improvements Committee? You're not sucking me into it.
I don't think it has to be a full member. I think it could be an alternate. Just throwing that out there.
Traditionally, it's been the chair. I'm just saying, I can't. Because I'm already on
Oh, boy.
it. Bill,
All right,
Bill, do we have a date
I'll
yet
trade you,
for,
chair for capital improvements.
Bill, do you have a date yet for a capital improvements meeting?
Not yet. I wanted to get this audit report done and take a look at it first. So we could start punching in some numbers or whatever. I would say within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
So I was just gonna say, if somebody wants to know what it entails before they stick their hand up, they can come speak with me and I can tell them what it entails. But it's not. I mean, it's important.
It involves 2 or 3 meetings generally.
Meetings maybe, and you review the capital requests from all the departments, and then you basically, as a group, give the board of selectmen a recommendation as to which ones you think should be funded and which ones can be not funded.
I know it's usually the chair, but I'm afraid to take more.
Well, it's up to you.
All right, let's
You
table.
don't have to do it tonight and you know, it's kind of open on the membership. So you can let us know down the road.
Yeah, we'll table it for the next meeting so I can think about it. No, just. Okay. Old business, well, the expenditure.
You don't have anything else to do.
He's
That's
running
right.
Trader Joe's, man.
All right,
The old
I
business,
apologize. You skipped the budget, initial budget discussion. I don't know if you wanted to.
yeah, well, we really don't have that much to
Right.
discuss yet, because we haven't seen,
And not only that, but we have so many numbers rattling through my head right now that we just saw.
yeah, we saw the,
I
what
was
the
just,
school already gave is all I have at the
Right.
moment,
And that's just the piece of paper.
and I don't have anything from the town, so.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I just didn't want to skip.
well, I had an important caveat to go along with the budget, initial budget discussion. Has there been any annual reports coming in from the departments with these?
Did I say I had nothing?
Nothing.
The first thing you need to ask is, go
So,
ahead. Oh, I'm sorry,
so,
Bill.
Bill,
Bill?
Bill, this year we were gonna try to, get the annual report information at the same time as the budgets. Do you feel like you can push that along?
You
Are you
talking to
there?
me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it
we-
went with the spreadsheets that Sherry Susie sent out. There was attached a budget annual report request. And I haven't seen them yet, but I understand from several other departments that they've already submitted them. So when we eventually give you the hard copy packages of all the budgets, we'll have a side package of all those annual reports for you. I think we have got to jump on it this year.
That makes Jesse
Yeah,
very,
that's good
very
news.
happy.
I would think so.
He's gonna be-
Okay, the budget discussion we'll hold off till next week when when are we gonna get more information on the budget? Next week? Is she gonna have?
Sherry's compiling it. I've asked her for a list. I assume I'll get it tomorrow of everybody that's sent, and I've asked her to let me know who hasn't submitted them. And I'm gonna pay them a friendly reminder. So I would say next week, the end of next week, we'll hopefully have hard copies for you of everything we have.
Okay, well, at least something, then we can start.
Yep.
Judy.
I mean, I've heard of the Board of Ed. I haven't seen anything yet. Last I heard, they were looking at a 4.17% increase we request, but I haven't seen any support documentation on that.
Does anybody know if their budget meetings are online? Because I haven't been able to find the videos.
John, I thought they were online.
They may very well be, and I just can't find them, which is not surprising.
All of recorded meetings have been posted on the town's YouTube channel.
Yeah, but the
Right.
Board of Ed does it themselves.
Right, the Board of Ed's always had it on
Oh.
theirs, and
Right.
I have not been able to find it on their page.
Yeah, I haven't
On the
even
towns,
looked.
on the town's page, it's only Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance,
Okay.
Agriculture, all those things. The Board of Ed's
I-
not listed on there.
Through the last superintendent, I requested, because I was getting complaints about that they also have them on our webpage. And I thought that was being filed. I'll double check on that, John.
All right, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Hey, Bill, can we ask Sherry, and I'm asking you if we can ask Sherry, if she can compile hard copies of all the budgets she has submitted already for next week's meeting? We have a meeting next week.
Yeah, we asked her.
Would that be possible?
I've got a meeting coming up with her first thing in the morning, and I will certainly run that by. I did meet with her last Friday and asked her to get that list. I don't want to make you a promise, but I'll do my best to get them for you.
Okay.
Okay. Now to the old business, expenditures and revenues is the same as the last meeting. I haven't received an update on that.
I did not, and I'm gonna be honest, I think she's been busy trying to compile the
It
budget
is,
stuff.
yeah.
And
I'm gonna see her tomorrow, I think.
Okay.
So,
I didn't even bug her this past Friday. I don't even think I was here this past Friday. Now they say that out loud, but
okay,
Folks, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to try to catch the tail end of the Board of Ed meeting.
okay.
Have a
Thanks,
good night,
Bill.
folks. Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, so agenda items for the next meeting will be, the selectmen's update, the appointment of the Board of Finance representative to the capital improvements. Budget discussion. Expenditures and revenue review. And anything else that's thrown at us in between.
When do we have to decide on the non-lapsing fund transfer?
That usually comes pretty late, doesn't it?
I remember doing it like in December last year. I feel like we started the conversation.
Yeah, I think it's further down the road. I don't think we have to worry about it at this point.
it can actually be done at any time.
But we did it because of the oil,
Right,
and we were hoping that we could have that by fall, I think, because.
the pressure was to try to have it done this summer, the oil tank. That's why that occurred during budget season last year, the only thing that does impact is capital improvements. Because that's where the funding comes from the capital improvements. The CNR fund, capital non-recurring, is taken from the non-lapsing and or not the non-lapsing, but the unassigned fund balance.
Unassigned.
But the non-lapsing fund, the Board of Education has to bring that to the Board of Finance. That's not our decision. That's the Board of Education's decision when they bring it to us. And Sean is no longer on the call, but I don't know if there's a timeline for that. I don't remember one in that ordinance at all.
I remember it being further down the road.
Yeah,
Well, I know we tabled it several meetings.
Yeah, because we were doing the budget and everything else. It was something that we didn't want to get wrapped up in.
I was looking to see where it was in a minute. Doesn't matter.
We'll find out.
We'll find it.
Okay, so
All right, I'm
Okay,
gonna
agenda
add something to your agenda under, are you going to remarks for the good of the board?
do you want to add something for the agenda?
Well, it's gonna come from remarks for the good or bad for the board, and then it'll be added to the agenda next.
What?
I am going to step down as the clerk for the Board of Finance.
Oh,
So I would like to make it effective for February, February 1st. But I would be more than happy to help whoever would be willing to take it on to get it, to give you the templates and all that for how to do it and where the email needs to go. But my new job is taking up a lot more of my time than I thought it was going to. And with my travel schedule and the fire department, I just can't juggle everything all at once, so.
well, you see how people are jumping at the capital improvement.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I was like, I knew this, I know, and that's all right, but I, you know what, I understand, trust me, I do. And I don't wanna make it sound like it takes up a whole bunch of time, because it really isn't that much time, but it's just time I don't have. So, there's a lot, but like I said, my new job is, the position I took is different than the position I ended up in because of attrition, so.
We can't hold out until after the budget season.
I will help what I can. I mean, and I'll tell you what drove it, in all honesty, when I missed hosting the meeting back in October. I was like, I'm just trying to juggle too many things.
I know the feeling.
In fairness to the board and the town, actually, honestly. So, like I said, I'd be more than happy to help, right? And it's really, it's not like it's super difficult. The town hall, Karen and Sherry are great to work with in the town and the town clerk's office. Dolly's really easy to work with too.
So I have a question. I'm having a hard time hearing. So
Yeah.
Paul, are you gonna be on our board, but not doing what you're doing?
Yes, I'm remaining on
Okay.
the board. I'm just gonna step down as the clerk.
Sure.
Does that mean, Angie, you're interested in the clerk job?
Yeah, you held your hand up, you win.
You have your hand up first.
I am too old.
I second.
It has nothing to do with it.
Kurt just second you.
Do we have a vote?
I will put it on the agenda for next.
Okay,
The agenda is nominating at the end.
Is that how you want me to listen?
But
yeah, he's being a church mouse, so. All right, well, that wasn't, that wasn't for the good of the board, but.
Told you good or bad, I'm not lying.
Okay, it is what it is. Gosh. And yes, we are done. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
That's me. Motion to adjourn.
She was happy to jump.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Jesse? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Wait, nobody's opposed?
Wait a minute. Who seconded?
So first was Angie motion, Jesse second.
Jeffrey?
Jesse,
Oh,
Jesse.
Jesse Burnham.
Do we have a Jesse here? I mean, a Jeffrey here?
No.
He can be on the Zoom committee, not the Zoom, but the other committee. Anyway, see, my mind isn't there. Well,
That's
anyway, Happy New Year, everybody. See you next week.